call.
Mr. President, I've been critical of the UN lately. Do you want the United States to leave the UN? Are you considering that move?
The UN has such tremendous potential, not living up to its potential. There is such tremendous potential, but it is not living up. When do you see the United Nations solving problems? They don't. They cause problems. So if it lives up to the potential, it's a great thing. And if it doesn't, it's a waste of time and money. Okay, thank you very much.
Do you want your Board of Peace to replace the UN?
Well, it might. I mean, the UN just hasn't been very helpful. I'm a big fan of the UN potential, but it has never lived up to its potential. These are the two things I got from the United Nations, a bad escalator and a bad teleprompter. I didn't think of it at the time because I was too busy working to save millions of lives. That is the saving and stopping of these wars. But later I realized that the United Nations wasn't there for us. They weren't there.
What happens when one man decides that the entire world order is no longer useful? What happens when a system built after World War II to prevent global chaos is suddenly treated as disposable? And most importantly, what happens to Africa when the one global platform where it holds collective power is pushed aside? President Donald J. Trump has declared that the United Nations has never lived up to its potential, and now suggests replacing it with something he calls a Board of Peace, an exclusive pay-to-enter global club where membership costs $1 billion and participation on his personal approval.
Мы могли бы, я думаю, направить в Совет мира $1 миллиард США из замороженных еще при прежней администрации США российских активов. Кстати, оставшиеся средства из наших же замороженных в США активов можно было бы использовать и на восстановление территорий.
This is not just political theater. This is a direct challenge to global system that has shaped world diplomacy for nearly 8 years. And for Africa, this could change everything. The United Nations is not perfect. It is slow, bureaucratic, and often constrained by powerful nations, but it has given Africa something extremely valuable: collective voice. Africa has 54 votes at the UN General Assembly, more than any other continent. That voting bloc has allowed Africa to push global discussions on. That voting bloc has allowed Africa to push global discussions on climate justice, debt relief, development funding, human rights, global health, peacekeeping, economic fairness. For decades, Africa has used the UN as a moral and diplomatic battleground, even when military and financial powers lacking. Now imagine that platform disappearing, replaced by a club where entry costs $1 billion and membership is selectively granted by one individual.
Мы действительно получили личное обращение президента Соединенных Штатов Америки Дональда Трампа с приглашением присоединиться к создаваемой по его инициативе новой международной структуре Совету мира. В этой связи хотел бы прежде всего поблагодарить президента США за это предложение. Мы всегда поддерживали и поддерживаем любые усилия, направленные на укрепление международной стабильности.
That is not diplomacy. That is corporate-style global governance. Let us look at the dangers of pay-to-play global politics. In Trump's proposed system, power is no longer built on international consensus. It is built on money, loyalty, and personal alignment. $1 billion for membership instantly locks out most African nations, most of the global south, small developing economies. This creates a new global aristocracy where only the wealthiest and most politically favored states get to shape world decisions. Africa is pushed from stakeholder to spectator. And if participation depends on personal selection, Africa loses something even more dangerous: predictability, and fairness. Who will speak for Africa? The UN, for all its flaws, at least offers structure, rules, protocols, multilateral negotiation. But in a personalized world order, who speaks for Africa? Which African leaders would be invited? Who would be excluded? Who decides which African nations deserve representation? And what happens when African interests clash with priorities of powerful elites? When Africa is excluded from global negotiations, decisions are made about Africa without Africa. And the outcomes are almost always disastrous. So what this means for the global south, the shift is not only about Africa. It threatens the entire global south, Latin America, South Asia, Southeast Asia, the Caribbean. The UN allowed smaller nations to collectively balance against the dominance of superpowers. Replacing it with an elite council risks returning the world to imperial style governance, where the strong dictate and the weak comply. This is a reversal of 80 years of diplomatic evolution. What does this mean for BRICS? Now consider BRICS: Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, plus new members. BRICS exists to challenge Western dominance in global economic and political systems. Trump's model directly threatens that project.
And that would be like losing a world war. We can never let anyone play games with us, and that's why when I heard about this group from BRICS, 6 countries basically, I hit them very, very hard. And if they ever really form in a meaningful way, it will end very quickly, I will tell you for that.
If global diplomacy becomes a private club, BRICS loses leverage, multipolarity collapses, Western dominance quietly reconsolidates. This could force BRICS to accelerate its own global institutions, including alternative development banks, payment systems, and diplomatic platforms. We may be witnessing the birth of parallel world orders. Here lies Africa's greatest lesson. The United Nations is powerful not because of size, but because of unity. 50 states acting as one economic, political, and military bloc. Europe holds influence because it built continental integration. China rose through centralized national coordination. Africa remains fragmented into 50 small negotiating units. True power does not come from population alone. It comes from organization, unity, and strategic coordination. If Africa spoke with one voice, no global system could easily ignore it. And this moment should force a deep continental reflection. Is Africa ready to act as one? The big question. The question is no longer, will Africa be heard? The question is, will Africa finally unite strongly enough to command respect? Because in a world where global governance is becoming more exclusive, Africa cannot afford fragmentation. This is not the time for division. This is the time for continental awakening. If you believe Africa deserves dignity, power, and a strong global voice, then support African-owned platforms, African knowledge systems, and African economic independence. Visit the Africarized shop where we sell African-inspired clothing, accessories, and merchandise designed to promote African pride, consciousness, and empowerment. Every purchase directly supports African-centered storytelling and independent African media. Wear your history, wear your identity, wear your power. If Africa does not define its future, others will define it for us. And history shows they rarely define it in our favor. This is Africarized, where African consciousness meets global truth. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.
Do you want your Board of Peace to replace the UN?
Well, it might. I mean, the UN just hasn't been very helpful. I'm a big fan of the UN potential, but it has never lived up to its potential.